little review tonight, and if you follow my channel you will know that I've got a long-standing relationship with the Dr. Martens products. In fact, it was the reason why I started this channel. My very first video, I think it was on the For Life models. Now, For Life is long gone. It's probably been gone for 5 years or so, and that was a deal where they would replace or repair your boots forever, basically. Brilliant deal, absolutely fantastic. Whilst they didn't offer that to new starters or new entrants anymore, they did do the right thing for current users. They started offering out the normal 1460s initially with the Hard Life, which is a really nice greasy leather, and then ultimately in the shiny black, shiny red, shiny cherry red classics of the 1460s. Now, over that time, my sort of love affair with Dr. Martens products has sort of faded away, and I've become a little bit disenfranchised with the quality of their sort of Thai and I think it's probably Chinese, either made in China or Thailand, but they're outsourced boots. I did try the made in England's, these classics, a little bit disappointed with those as well. So I've sort of not reviewed anything from Dr. Martens for over 2 years. I actually focused more on the Solivairs, which are made in those original factories of Dr. Martens. It used to be made on license by Solivair, and you know, legend has it, internet sort of lore says that these are offering what Dr. Martens used to offer, and to a large extent I've found them definitely to be a better made boot than the Dr. Martens. But what caught my eye the other day when I was just checking out their website, just seeing if there was anything new, were these Pascals. They are 1460s, but they're called the Pascal model. They're made in England. They have Horween leather, which is a premium leather, which was interesting to me, being a sort of boot fan. And also what was interesting is the price. Now, these are probably the most expensive production Dr. Martens that I've seen, at £139. So these are £50 more than the made in England's. They're £90 more than the normal 1460s, and I really just wanted to see what you got for your money. So, being a made in England boot, it comes with a nice red box, a little bit of a premium feel to it, nice little booklet explaining the history of the business, the company, a little carry bag, and just a few little things like, you know, extra hang tags and stuff like that, which just makes it feel like a premium buying experience. But getting into the boots as themselves, you know, the standout feature, the Horween leather, you know, I was really interested just to feel that leather, understand whether that premium justified it. Certainly on paper, sort of Horween veg tan leather is something of interest. So if we start off with the leather itself, Horween is a long-standing, or the oldest still functioning tannery in the US, based in Chicago. It's been operational since 1905. Their leathers, or certainly this leather, is what they call veg tan, and that is basically the fact that the leather is processed sort of from the raw hide using vegetable tannins to sort of break down and colour it, and sort of basically turn it into leather rather than the skin of an animal. Now, the alternative to that is chrome tanning, which is a chemical process, very, very serviceable, very, very functional, not particularly good for the environment as I understand it, but used by many, many boot makers, many, many tanneries, and much more aligned with what you normally find in a boot. So veg tan from Horween, certainly something of interest. Now, getting this leather in hand, the little sort of hang tag here talks about the patina developing over time. In hand, though, it is not quite as sort of premium and special feeling as I might have hoped. It is certainly a decent thickness, and I'm sure of a good quality, but it's a very sort of soft hand to leather, very soft, like it's been tumbled. it will be comfortable, that's for sure. Just trying these on for fit, and we'll talk about fit in a minute. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure this will be a comfortable leather to wear. It does talk about the patina building over time. It also talks about that it's very, very water absorbent, and that it will take on water and it will change colour when you're out and about. Now that's not a quality that I particularly look for in leathers. You know, it's normal that I'd go for, and I think most people go for, oily, waxy, greasy leather which will keep water out. Not a leather which is admittedly water absorbent. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it's not that interesting a leather. It doesn't have that sort of pull-up quality. It doesn't have the oils moving around it. It feels very, very supple, but that's about it. It would be interesting to see how the patina builds up over time. I'm not sure if I'll be keeping these for a long-term review. I'm still undecided on that, but I did want to check them out. Now, in terms of these boots, if you're looking to buy these yourself, the first thing I'd say is that these use a very, very similar or clearly identical last to the rest of the Made in England brand range, and that does lead to a slightly snugger fit. So I normally go sort of for an 8. I call that a true to size fit for me, and in the normal sort of 1460s, the outsourced ones, that is absolute fine fit. Now in the Made in England's, shorter in toe and quite narrow across the forefoot there, and I found the same in these really. It's slightly more roomy in width, and I think this leather will yield more willingly. But if you were anywhere near between the sizes, I'd definitely be going up a size on these actually, just from my past experience, because these are really, really hard to break in. So I think probably what we'll do is we'll go and take a look at some details on these. Just coming in for some close-ups now, working from the top, or rather than the bottom up actually. The soles on Doc Martens I often find to be the limiting factor. Very, very soft compound that they use on the soles. No shank, so it's got a little bit of a spring in the midpoint here. Not quite as much support as you might like if you're going to be on your feet all day. Now, starting off with the tread pattern, very pleased to see the traditional sort of pattern revisited on these Made in England boots. Previously, my experience was that they used a much, much finer tread pattern, and it really wore away super, super quick. And whilst I was hoping for a longer lasting sole, actually the Made in England, the premium boots were actually a quicker wearing boot than the outsourced ones. So that's good to see. In terms of the compound, I always find the Doc Martens boots to be a really quite soft compound, and just for sort of comparative reasons, to keep it a little bit more objective, I do get a bit sad and use a durometer tester. So in terms of sort of the relative hardness, these are coming in at 68. The previous Made in England's was 66, so a little bit softer, and the offshore ones, which these are a hard life, which is now discontinued, we're in at 64. So they're a decent sort of compound for Doc Martens, it seems. The Solitaire actually have a much harder compound at about 72, and they have worn a lot better than I've found Doc Martens to wear in the past. But they're all relatively soft boots. The sole's always going to be a limiting factor on this style of boot. I find it's not going to be performing like a Vibram lug or anything like that. So just moving up, obviously you've got the nice sort of cut edges there with the ribs, always like that. But one really interesting thing on these is they've gone for a white stitch, which is, you know, not what I'd expect from Doc Martens. You know, yellow stitch is the way Doc Martens sort of go. So it's really interesting that they've gone for a white stitch. I think they have done this before on, I think they were calling it the monochrome range. But yeah, interesting. And that was one of the things that Solitaire were doing to sort of separate them from Doc Martens. Interesting that the Doc Martens have actually sort of almost aligned themselves with again, but plenty of other differences. Of course, you know, you've got the leather uppers, the Horween leather, you've got the nice triple Puritan stitch. The stitching on these Made in England boots I've always found to be of a good quality. Double stitching up the backstay there. Nice brass eyelets, nicely finished off inside. So I think that's a little bit better than most of the Doc Martens sort of eyelet finishing that I've seen. Interesting lace choice, so a very fine, thin sort of waxed lace. Nice to have a bit of variety on that, so that's interesting. Obviously a bellows tongue on the inside. Very, very supple actually. Look how supple that tongue is. And one of the things which I always find in terms of breaking in Doc Martens is getting that tongue broken in so you can get your heel right back in the boot. So actually having this sort of, yeah, it's so soft. Having this sort of super soft tongue will be really, really good for your comfort. Looking inside the boots, you've obviously got the insole there with a little bit of branding, if you can see that. And at the back, you probably won't be able to pick this up, but the counter, the heel counter, is now actually sort of tucked away under a bit of felt, which is actually quite good because the previous Made in England ones were cracking up a bit. So I think they've been looking and listening and taking some feedback on how they construct their boots. That's quite nice. Obviously a heel tab, and on this one they've gone for a gold stitch rather than the traditional yellow, so that's interesting in itself. And that's about it. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the review. As I say, I'm probably not going to do a long-term review on these. As I mentioned when we were looking at the close-ups, these soles, always a weak point on Doc Martens, and to be honest, apart from the leather, there's not much more for me to discover on these. If you want to see how Doc Martens wear, whether it's the Made in England's or the outsourced 1460s, please do check out my other reviews. Absolutely tons of Doc Martens content over the years, but really it kind of interests me just to see what they are offering at their most premium price now, and also the actually what this leather was like. And yeah, I think it's a good quality leather. It's just not as interesting as some of the other leathers I've found on boots like Red Wings, but I think if you're looking at Doc Martens, you're not looking for the stylings of Red Wings, you're looking at this sort of style of boot. So absolutely do check these out. It is a good quality leather. I do like the Made in England range. I like the fact they're still made in the UK, and I think that's something to be sort of support if we can. But yeah, so that's about it for those. If you haven't seen my channel before, please do check it out. Lots and lots of boot reviews, Red Wings, Doc Martens, quality English boots like Herring and Grenson. Yeah, check it out. Also denim, everyday carry, fountain pens, pen knives, that sort of stuff. We might share some other common interests. If you thought this video was useful, please give it a thumbs up. And that's about it. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.